The stars themselves bore witness when the Kalari made their decision. It was not one of necessity, nor of defense. No, their act was one of spectacle. A human colony, Aurelia Prime, lay in the quiet reaches of the Eridan Arm. Families, children, and farmers tilled new soil under unfamiliar suns. They were not soldiers. They were not a threat. When the Kalari fleets emerged from the void, they announced their arrival with orbital fire. Cities that had taken decades to build were reduced to smoldering glass in minutes. The Kalari did not strike silently. They broadcast their destruction across open frequencies, mocking the upstart apes who had wandered too far from their cradle. Their commanders gave speeches over the ruins, voices dripping with contempt. This is what becomes of the lesser races who think themselves equal. Let Earth watch their children burn and understand their place. As the last of Aurelia Prime's refugees screamed into the void, the Kalari crushed their transmissions, leaving only silence in their wake. They did not fear reprisal. They did not believe humanity had the strength to answer. To them it was not war. It was demonstration, and the galaxy watched. The feast of mockery, in the cycles that followed, the Kalari reveled. Their halls of power rang with laughter as they toasted their conquest. They told stories of the humans' fragile spirit, how the destruction of one colony would send Earth retreating into isolation. They build fast, but they break faster, their strategists boasted. Treaties were signed with neighboring powers, all amused by the Kalari's audacity. The message spread. Humanity was a civilization of dreamers, not warriors. Their fleets were small, their armies scattered, their leaders too bound by morality to take vengeance. On Kalari broadcast networks, holovids replayed the bombing of Aurelia Prime as entertainment. They slowed the footage of burning towers, rewinding it for comedic effect. The cries of human civilians were edited into songs. It was not enough that the Kalari had won. They needed to make the victory eternal, carved into humiliation. And so the galaxy, lulled by arrogance, waited for humanity to bow. The silence before the storm, but Earth did not bow. Earth remembered. For weeks, the comnet across human colonies was devoid of bravado. There were no threats, no declarations. Humanity said nothing. Fleets did not scramble. Politicians gave no speeches. To the galaxy, it looked as though Earth was frozen by grief. But in the deep black, beneath encrypted channels, something stirred. Shipyards once used for trade began construction without pause. Carriers, dreadnoughts, and escorts were forged in relentless silence. Training worlds that had been dormant erupted into ceaseless drills. Generations of doctrine, refined from centuries of war on Earth, were reawakened. When the first Kalari scouts brushed too close to human borders, they discovered stations powered down, comms dead, the void empty. They laughed at the apparent cowardice, but the truth was simple. Humanity was not frozen. Humanity was preparing, and when the silence broke, it would break with thunder. The first shadows of vengeance. The Kalari's laughter ended the day their border garrisons vanished. Entire fleets posted along the edge of human space simply stopped responding. At first, their command thought it was sabotage, some trick of communication. Then came the recordings. Fragments of transmissions escaped the slaughter. A captain whispering, "They're here. We didn't see them arrive." Another crying out, "Gods, they're everywhere, shadows in the dark." The last was only static, broken by a single word repeated over and over. Human. The galaxy listened in silence as the once proud Kalari Navy screamed its last into the void. When the survivors fled, their reports were almost unbelievable. They spoke of fleets larger than any ever recorded, dreadnoughts the size of cities that emerged without warning, weapons that tore through shields like paper. They described precision strikes that left no infrastructure, no escape pods, no witnesses. It was not war. It was judgment. The thunder breaks. The vengeance of Earth did not announce itself with speeches. It came with silence, and then with fire. One dawn, a Kalari capital world awoke to find its skies blotted out. Human carriers drifted above the planet like silent moons. Civilians looked up and thought their sons had died. The invasion was swift, cold, merciless. Orbital platforms shattered in seconds, falling to the surface like flaming meteors. Kalari fleets scrambled to launch, but were caught in kinetic barrages that cracked their hulls apart before engines could warm. Human ground forces descended in steel storms, armored dropships carving through the atmosphere, each landing zone expanding like a wound. The Kalari had once mocked humanity's fragile spirit. Now they saw the truth. Humanity did not break. Humanity endured, and when it struck back, it struck with centuries of rage distilled into purpose. Entire continents fell in hours. Kalari cities, proud centers of culture, were reduced to rubble. Not indiscriminately. No, Earth did not waste energy. Every strike was targeted. Shipyards, command centers, broadcast towers. The very things the Kalari had once used to mock humanity were silenced first. The galaxy watched in horror. This was not the retaliation of equals. This was a predator reminding Carrion where the true apex lay, the weight of retribution. The Kalari begged for aid from their allies, but none came. The other civilizations, once amused by their cruelty, now saw what had been unleashed. None wished to stand in the path of Earth's fury. None dared. The Kalari tried to negotiate, but their envoys were met only with silence. Messages into human space were swallowed by void. The galaxy speculated endlessly. Would humanity stop once vengeance was satisfied? Or would they continue until the Kalari were dust? The answer came soon enough. World by world, system by system, the Kalari Empire collapsed. Every battle followed the same rhythm. Sudden darkness, overwhelming human presence, annihilation. Survivors whispered that the humans were not even fighting for territory. They left most worlds in ruin, unclaimed, their purpose fulfilled the moment the Kalari flag fell. This was not conquest. It was erasure, echoes louder than victories. The Kalari had once boasted of Aurelia Prime, replaying its destruction across the stars. Now, humanity's vengeance became the new broadcast. Not by their own hand. Humanity never gloated. But survivors carried the stories, their trembling voices spreading like wildfire. They told of the dreadnought Eternal Resolve, whose broadside turned entire fleets into wreckage in a single salvo. They spoke of human marines, faceless in black armor, who moved through cities like specters and left no defenders breathing. They described the silence after battle, the chilling, total silence of human comms. The galaxy compared these tales to the Kalari's once proud victory, and it was clear. The memory of Aurelia Prime's fall was already fading, overshadowed by the terror of Earth's vengeance. The Kalari had sought to etch their triumph into history. Instead, their annihilation became the story. Their greatest victory had been loud. Humanity's answer echoed louder still, across every world that remained to whisper. The ashes of arrogance, in the end, the Kalari no longer fought. Their fleets were gone, their leaders executed or vanished. Their citizens, once jubilant in mockery, now fled in fear. Whole populations surrendered at the mere sight of human vessels, casting down their banners before a single shot was fired. And Earth? Earth did not press further than necessary. When the Kalari Empire was broken, when its glory was dust, the human fleets withdrew. No declaration, no speech, only silence. The galaxy understood what that silence meant. Humanity had no desire for conquest. But should another ever dare to repeat the mistake of the Kalari, the response would not be delayed. The fury would not be diminished. And so the whisper began, passing from one frightened tongue to another across the stars. Never provoke Earth again. Their patience is vast, but their vengeance is infinite.